Mics are hot. Two gingers in the studio. What could possibly go wrong?
People said this couldn't happen, but it did.
Yeah, I've seen both of us in the same place at the same time. Yeah. Tom Leigh, welcome to H Hour.
Thank you very much.
Yes, excellent. And it's good to know that you live in London as well, because it means I can drag you back in at some point. Maybe.
We'll see how this one goes.
Yeah. Are you excited for the Sunray premiere on Monday?
Very excited. I mean...
Sold out.
Within something like 50 seconds.
Yeah. Oh, was it that quick?
That quick.
Oh, right. I was thinking because I'd left it weeks.
No.
I went and looked for tickets and sold out. Man.
It went live and then pretty much they refreshed it and it was sold out. Because I think everyone, to be fair, we've done quite good PR telling everyone, be ready. Because we think this is going to be popular. And 10 to 15 seconds later or 50 seconds later, all gone. Pretty happy about that.
Which cinema is it in?
It's in The View at Leicester Square.
Oh yeah. That's where I think the Kajaki premiere is in there. I've been to something else recently.
Beekeeper was in there. The Jason Statham.
I've heard of it. Yeah,
he's always somewhere.
Lev Wood's. Lev Wood is his. Did you see that? Were you there? Yeah,
I was there. I was doing the. I was down the front.
Of course you were. Are you in that?
I'm in that.
You're in that as well. Of course.
You're like, who is? You're that little...
You're the main guy, aren't you?
No. That's Tom Weston Jones, who's the main guy.
Yeah. And who were you in that?
Almost as handsome as me. But I was his mate who dies in it.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. I quite enjoyed that.
Yeah, it was not a bad hoof, that one. We're in the same cinema.
How did you end up in that then? Do you know Lev already?
So I know Lev now. No, Lev was doing that project. We're talking about it for a while.
Another awesome ginger involved, actually. Grace Bless Hopley.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Lev was talking about it for quite a while. He was posting on social media saying, like, I want to do this thing. It's going to be a military-focused project. And so my agent went and contacted him saying, well, I've got two brilliant ex-Royal Marines on my books who'd be perfect for this thing. And it's me and my best mate, Cassidy Little, who's an actor as well. And Lev was just like, oh, brilliant, being a para as well. He was like, yeah, come on, get the Bootnecks on board and I'll give them I'll let them clean the toilets or something. But no, Lev's an awesome guy. And so he brought us on and we had a great time up in Scotland, filming on that island. It was needed to be a military shoot because there's a lot of work and not enough people. Perfect time for military guys who just... I'm going that way, carrying this stuff. Oh, there's something there. I'll carry that as well. Don't worry about it. Things get done. On a normal shoot, you'd be back and forth for the next day because that's not mine to carry. So it was a good, nice experience for that, and I think created quite a special little short film for not a lot of money. The thing with short films, why they're short films, but
it was 20 minutes, was it?
20 minutes.
20 minutes, yeah.
Addressing PTSD and how Lev feels like. Those kind of festivals and music can have that effect.
Well, he's a Burning Man geek as well, isn't he?
He is. He loves it.
Never been out there. I wouldn't mind, maybe.
After that, this was like I don't want to say it was a mini Burning Man, but it was...
Have you done Burning Man?
I've not done one, no. But I know there's a lot of, loyalty around it and specifics to it. So I don't want to say it's like this festival was like that. Not at all, but in the same kind of vein. And so I know that I really enjoy this one. So maybe I think Burning Man could be quite fun.
Yeah, well, you may know. It seemed to me like it was a deliberate reference to Burning Man, or that kind of festival.
Yeah, potentially. I don't know. Some people might say that.
My only concern with Burning Man is I think as it's become more publicised and people become more aware over the years, is that it's kind of more a touristy thing now. Like I think when it probably started up, you've got no idea when it started up. Those were probably the days where it was just like you go and either had like a life-changing time for the right reasons or a life-changing time for the wrong reasons.
You're waking up with it next to a pack of coyotes, just like what happened?
Yeah, fucking hell, yeah.
Spooning one. Yeah, these days probably a bit different, but all right, I don't know. I'd still like to see it. I'll go with Lev maybe one time. Maybe we should all go with Lev. Let Lev show us the ropes.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Could do.
But no, yeah. So Leicester Square, that was fun. It was fun for Lev's thing, and it's amazing for Sunray.
It's a good spot, that.
We didn't see it coming. We thought...
Didn't see what coming?
the premiere at Leicester Square. Because I mean, Leicester Square is like the prime real estate for these kind of premieres. You know, that's where all the big stuff goes. And maybe it was just that, you know, we were really happy with what we created, but we would have been happy showing everyone on a projector around our house. You know what I mean? I mean, the product's much better than that, but that's what we would have been happy with. So to get the Leicester Square...
Oh, it has to be seen in the cinema. You know, I've seen it. I'm lucky enough to have seen the screener. And it has to be seen in the cinema. Yeah, it's great.
I mean, the trailer is action-packed. So you can see that kind of stuff always translates better onto big screens, in my opinion. Action is always better in your face, because action, when it happens in real life, it's in your face. You're dealing with the chaos. And so I think on a small screen, it kind of contains it. You need it on that big screen to really feel that chaos and the music of firefights and stuff. I think you need to experience that in the cinema. That's why I like big action movies in the cinema, and drama I feel like you can watch on a phone.
Yeah. I didn't think it was going to be as, I'll be honest, I didn't think it was going to be as high quality or as long as it is. And I mean high quality generally, your production, acting, storyline, all of that. And I say that because, you know, when you hear, okay, there's a film being made and it's all ex-military, mostly bootnecks, almost, or is it exclusively bootnecks?
Mostly.
And that's even, most people.
Yeah.
And, you know, the core of the movie, you know, in front of the camera and behind the camera are ex-military, the core.
You're expecting high heels and dresses,
there's probably limits to how good this is going to be. There's probably limits. There's going to be problems somewhere.
It's probably going to be really weird.
Yeah.
You're going to be wearing women's clothing.
Yeah. And I knew nothing about it. The only thing I knew of Sunray was, we mentioned Bags earlier, and I know you know Bags, and when I'm at Bags' place filming there sometimes, he's got a poster in there of Sunray.
And he supported it at the start, so he got like
I think he crowdfunded, partly crowdfunded it, didn't he? And Stephen Blades is in it. And Stephen Blades has been on HR right back in the early days.
Oh, great,
Right back when.
Steve's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Mental. Have you seen his ASMR stuff on TikTok?
I have.
It's my guilty pleasure. It's my guilty pleasure.
I know, right? It's not my hardest one.
It's for his voice, not his muscles. He's brilliant at it. He's brilliant at it.
He is so good.
Yeah.
I love him, and you don't see it coming out. It's so out of left field.
What's he called? For anyone who's on TikTok, go and check out I think he's called The Whispering Gentleman, isn't he? The Whispering Gentleman. And it's Stephen Blades, bootneck, actor,
legend.
Talking in whispers, basically, and making other sounds for ASMR.
Gives you little shivers sometimes, you know?
Yeah. Brushing his hair.
Yeah. Brushing your hair.
Anyway, so that's...
Oh, he took you back there,
So that's how I became aware of Sunray. But now it's it has to be in the cinema, and views awesome. That's really good.
Yeah, it's awesome. And then theatrical release in the US as well as the UK.
When's the release in the US?
24th. I think 24th. Both were doing simultaneous.
So you going out there after?
Not
Monday?
As of yet. I mean, I'd like the trip out there, but currently it's just busting into cinemas 24th and 24th in the UK.
Is it going into all View cinemas?
No. So it's going to be a select cinemas. So it depends on which cinemas decide to pick it up, basically. So if you really want to see it, make sure you get your cinema, speak to them and say, pick up Sunray, because it is down to the individual cinemas at the end of the day what films. They get a general Charlie 1 from the guys at top who are just like, these are the films you have to show. And then in their spots, their free slots, they put on what they want to show. So get on to them and tell them that that's what you want to see. Because I know, for example, Plymouth, the Everyman down in Plymouth will be showing it on the 24th. So get your tickets for that. I think that'll sell out pretty quick. Plymouth's a solid seat for the Royal Marines, so I think there's going to be quite a few bootnecks down there buying tickets. So get your tickets for that. Because the more we sell, the more tickets we sell, obviously, the more showings they'll do. It's just normal. It's a smart way to do business for them. Which makes sense, and it makes sense for us. The more people who watch it, the more chance other people get to watch it.
What was your first acting gig?
My first ever acting gig. So it might actually help if I talk about how I got into acting first, actually.
Go for it.
Because...
Unless it's a shit story, then not bother.
Yeah, exactly. If I bore you more...
You guys are full of them. No, go for it, yeah.
So I was medically discharged from the Royal Marines with physical injuries, as well as I was diagnosed with depression and PTSD. And I felt like I was, as you do when you're in the fight, you can't see it. I felt like, not that I felt like I was fine and things were just tough. I didn't realise that I was not fine and things were tough. So I felt fine. I didn't realise anything was necessarily...
When you were still serving?
When I was still serving, so 2014, 2015. 2015 is when I got MD'd. And so they're telling me all these things, and it's hard to believe because you think you're fine. Everyone else is the crazy ones. You think you're fine. And so I'm going through psychiatry and things.
What were the symptoms? What were they concerned about?
I had things, which now I look back, it's insane I didn't notice, but things where, for example, I'd drive to work and I wouldn't remember the entire drive. I'd just be reliving things in my head on the entire drive, and I'd get there and I knew I'd driven safely. I'd just driven on autopilot, but I could not tell you what happened on that journey. Fuse got a lot shorter. There are a couple of instances where I got in trouble for starting fights, which isn't unheard of in the military, but it was getting out of hand. I was just starting to isolate myself. That was the biggest thing they were noticing. I was just pushing everyone back and then starting to take a step back from everyone else. And yeah, just it was kind of getting into everything, and then they thought it was linked to my physical injury. So then every time they do some kind of medical thing on my injury, they'd be like, this is now going to this has exacerbated your psychological symptoms. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Because I didn't realise there's anything. I didn't think there was much wrong with you, because you don't think there's anything wrong with you. And so as part of that, they were like, one of your main problems, so to speak, is you struggle to relate to people anymore. You've lost the ability to identify emotions in others and in yourself and express those. You can't express anything. And so it's getting blocked, and the only things that are coming out are the emotion, like extreme emotions, like anger or extreme happiness. It wasn't all bad, sometimes really, really good, but it's just the extreme stuff, because all these emotions are trying to come out, they're getting blocked because you just can't express it. And so then it's just building up, and then coming out in a huge splurge. When you get angry, it's coming, all those emotions are like, cool, path of least resistance there, out we come. And they were like, so expression, we should work on expression. And they were like, this is a bit left field, but we really think the arts are a good idea, because the arts are all about expression. That's what it is. It's expression in just different formats, whether be it music.
Was this after you got MD?
No, this was what?
Still in?
Still.
So this psychologist is basically saying...
They tried a lot of stuff.
Okay.
And some of it was hit and miss.
It's like last resort. Tell him to act.
Smoking, sitting there, handshaking. They're like, we think we've got one last thing we'd like you to try.
It's a long shot. Yeah.
And this was when
Amazing, though.
I'd had my med board, so I was on my way out, and they were kind of trying to set me up, because they're like, the provision of healthcare for you will transfer over to the civilian side. And so long waiting lists, not so much understanding, etc., etc.
And I'd argue that probably most as well would be like, okay, can't help them anymore. We've tried.
Exactly.
There's not much else we can do. How often you've heard that story with other people I know going on now?
It's basically what was happening. And it was two. I had a female psychiatrist, and also who was a civvy, and then there was the medical, the doctor, surgeon, commander, or whatever. So I had both of them, and they could see that coming, and they knew it was coming, and they didn't want it. They were like, we really want to help you. And so this was like a kind of a last ditch resort of, well, when we look at this logically, you can't express yourself. So what's a way that humans express themselves? Through art. That's what art is for, expressing.
Is this how they were explaining it to you?
Yeah.
What was your response?
Fuck it off.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I was like, I'll go to the gym. I'll have a few beers. I'll be fine. Don't you worry about me. I think most of my stresses are coming from the job. And once the job's gone, stresses will be gone. Don't you worry about that. Wasn't the case. The problems lingered, kept going on.
After you were out?
Yeah, some got better, not going to lie. Some got better. Some stresses did leave. But some got worse. Some stayed the same. And so it was one evening. I'd gotten a new job as a project manager, which was decent. I was on decent money. Hated it though. Absolutely. I couldn't sit behind that
What
desk.
was the industry?
Events.
Events, yeah.
So, you know, it's still like logistically setting stuff up, running a team. It wasn't purely behind the desk, but still was not me. Really was not me. And I had all the issues which was making it worse. And so one evening I was sitting at home, bored out of my skull. My evenings were just go home, get home maybe like 8 o'clock because I was working. That was quite a long commute to where I was working, like 2 hours. So I'd get home around about 8. And I'd sit there and just drink. Do some fizz. I'd always do fizz. But then I'd just sit there and drink. I'd be bored by myself. One of the worst things to do. And especially when you're in negative headspace, just sit there and drink by yourself. And I was bored out of my mind. And I saw a local theatre company put out an ad that was just like free taster sessions, small local community theatre, you know, come and try it. And it sparked that memory of what they said to me. They were like the arts. It could be music, it doesn't have to be, you know, performative. It could even be creating these things, ways of expression. I was like, I could give it. I bet you there'll be chicks there.
Yeah.
So there's always chicks there. So I could, all right, I can have a sniff about and see what it's like. And the worst case is I go down and I hang out with a bunch of lovely women. Can't go wrong with that.
Arty women can be a bit crazy though.
Yeah, crazy is a bit.
Anyway, so any people can be crazy, but in my experience, it's a different industry, isn't it? Well, not different industry. I say the arts is different.
The arts is different.
It takes a special kind of person to be involved in and successful in the arts.
Oh, absolutely.
I think
Yeah.
any of them,
And
from painting to acting to
they got
performative
their expression.
dance.
They got their expression turned up to 150%, and then to make themselves the interesting ones are the ones who've already got something a bit weird about them anyway.
Yeah.
So you're just like, wow, what's going on here? So I turn up and I'm like, yeah, right, that's maybe some crazy women. That's not off my list. That's good. And then and I turned up, and it was an improv class, and it was proper community theatre. Like, you know, we were all dog shit. Like, but I had probably the best evening, the best 2 hours I'd had for maybe 6 years.
Why is that? What did you have to do? What? Yeah,
it was improv. It was the one of the tasks where there's 2 chairs, and you go up, and at the start he gives the 2 people 2 roles. You're meeting at a bus stop maybe, and you're a policeman and you're a nurse going to work, for example. And you sit there and you have a chat, and he might say some things are happening, like there's a car coming past or whatever, and you react, and then he'll point at one person, they leave, and a new person comes in. He won't give you a role. You've just got to come in, not say what your role is, but you've identified one, and you try and be that person. You be you, but as a toy salesman or whatever. And you just go in, and improv's all about saying yes to whatever the other person suggests. Not even just a question, but if they're coming in saying, oh, it's raining, you've just got to, you go with the fact it's raining. You can't go, no, it's not.
No.
You just say, because
No, it's not.
No, it's not. Even though that can create some quite funny situations, the way improv works, you got to say yes.
Yeah.
You say yes to everything, and we did that, and then we worked through some activities on like expression and some really basic foundational stuff. But I had such fun. There were chicks there. Great.
Win.
I had so much fun, more fun than I'd had in years. Win. And I felt things just a little, right down deep. But I felt something, which I hadn't felt in a long, long time. And I was like, a little excitement, very exciting. Yeah, excitement. And when we were working through some things, like trying to identify past experiences and try and find those emotions that you felt there. A little bit dodgy ground, but if you pick the right one at the start, it's all right. You can go in slow, which is what I did. And I started to feel some things. It's like, I could feel sad a little bit and come out of it. Oh, that was good. I felt a release of, it's like I'd been stuck on a bench press for like years, and I suddenly just put the weight down, and I was like, taking your bag off after a yomp, like, that suddenly, you feel all that weight come off you, and you stand, you can breathe better, even though it wasn't really compressing your chest. It's just your body shape was, you can just a little bit. But I was like, that was nice. I'm gonna come next week, and I just kept going once a week. Then I started going twice a week because they ran twice weekly, and started going twice a week just to these community theatre sessions and hit and miss. It's just like real amateur fun. But it was therapy for me as well as enjoyment. So I just kept going and I was really invested in it. And because of that, I got better at what I did. Naturally, the more you do something, the better you get. Up until the point we started doing local community productions.
So, sorry to jump in. Did you do any classes at this point in terms of formal, like acting classes, acting courses?
Nothing formal in that regard. The guy who ran the theatre was a professional trained actor.
So when you first walked into a theatre, you had zero experience whatsoever?
Nothing. Apart from I liked watching movies.
Yeah.
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 That was it.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I was going to be... it was more of the other stuff I thought I'd get from it than the actual drama side. I just thought it might be a fun place to kick about and waste a couple of hours.
Yeah. A friend of mine is an actor. He said to me once that he thinks that the best place to start for most people who are, they're getting into it later on, as in they haven't gone to college, done arts in college, and then gone on to study some acting related whatever at whatever school of acting. Well, I don't know. But he said later on he used to go to, like you said, go to a local amateur dramatics place, and it's carnage.
Yeah. That's what you need.
But it takes balls of steel to go and do it.
Yeah.
Because you've never done it before, and you're walking into somewhere, some people will experience, some will not, and now it's all similar as well to wanting to be a comedian.
Yeah.
I think I'll try that and go into an improv night. Or like a open mic, no, not improv, open mic night.
Open mic night, yeah.
Shitting bricks. You must have been shitting bricks before you went in there.
A little bit, but it was that sink or swim kind of mechanic, which I like. I know it doesn't work for everyone, but it works for me.
It works for me, yeah.
And it's I will. The best way for me to learn to swim is to push me in and watch me drown, because I'll figure it out. I will very quickly figure out how to swim, or I'll start drowning. You can drag me out the pool, but
it's pressure, isn't it?
It's pressure.
I think with people with similar background like us, it's like I think the pressure flicks a switch, and the switch it flicks is absorb information rapidly, huge, vast, complex like data sets, absorb them rapidly, learn from them rapidly,
break it down,
assess your environment, and then move forward in the way you think is best. It's like learn by doing, right?
Absolutely.
In the most extreme possible way.
Yeah. And when the stakes are higher, it's even higher pressure. It's great. So there was pressure in it, but I felt like it was definitely the best place to cut my teeth for the start, because a lot of performance is about confidence and being comfortable, not getting too constricted, and so many people. Public humiliation is an average person's one of their biggest fears. Public humiliation, it's one of the biggest fears that anyone can have.
Yeah.
And so acting is and performing, not just acting, singing, it's all about that. You're putting yourself right in the vulnerable place to publicly humiliate yourself.
Well, how do you protect yourself against that? I don't mean, because it's going to happen. You're going to do stuff where some people will think that is nonsense. He is terrible.
Yeah.
And
you always will.
99.9% could think amazing. You only be the 0.1%. And that 0.1% could be the public humiliation that you read or see or hear and don't want. And it will sting almost as much as...
Even someone like Ralph Fiennes, one of the greatest actors ever, you'll get some people who say he's not very good. And you'll be like, you're great. He's literally one of the best actors ever. He's incredible. But even he will catch flack.
Yeah.
Because that's what happens for people to love you.
So how do you protect yourself against it? Or how do you deal with it?
For me, I have to be so comfortable and confident in myself, not just in my ability, but who I am as a person, that I'm like, if people want to take the piss out of me, it's just noise to me at that point, because I'm like, no, I know what I've done in my life. I know I've done a lot more than a lot of people. I've achieved some amazing, huge things. I've got nothing to prove. I don't have anything to prove anymore. So if you want to take the piss out of something I've done in a performance or whatever, go ahead. It's wrong to say it doesn't affect you at all, but it affects me far, far less, because I'm like, I just look back at my life and I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty happy with what I've done. All right, I might have made a misstep there and maybe made an idiot of myself, but that's just a small thing. If I turned the lens around and looked at half of them, I think you might feel it more than I do, you know?
Yeah. I think some people get consumed by it, don't they? I mean, you know, with anything. With anything they do, even just in day-to-day life, and they feel a bit of criticism or hear a bit of criticism about X, Y, or Z thing, or they perceive someone as criticising them without anything being said. They just sort of interpreting that thing as being inferred. But I like you're saying, I think it's a case of understanding yourself, confidence in yourself, or knowing that what you've done that is being criticised came from a good place. And measuring yourself against yourself, and not measuring yourself against other people.
And also learning from mistakes. Making mistakes is the best time to learn, you know. Like if I mess up on a production when I'm performing something, there's something for me to learn there. If I get it right, it's not a lot for me to learn. I just did it right. Cool. What did you learn from there? Nothing really. You did what you thought you were going to do. Cool. Not really any learning opportunities. The things that I get wrong, that's the learning opportunity. Okay, brilliant. It's almost good because I'm like, right, next time I can try and not make that mistake. My performance overall will be better, and I will become better because it's a journey. No one goes from zero to hero, or few people do. Some people are just natural heroes, but very few people go zero to hero. You build that path little brick by brick, and each little mistake and learning from that mistake is a brick on the foundation, and we get there. So I prefer them to be small mistakes that they don't affect things hugely, and we can slowly build me into a better human. But we take the hits as they come, you know. We see what happens. But yeah, mainly it's being comfortable in yourself, who you are, your life. Yeah, what you've done there, but you know who you are.
So you were discussing the journey towards the first production.
Yes, yeah. And so at that community, I've been going twice a week now, building it up, and he wanted to do. They'd been doing productions on the side, but I'd never been invited to be a part of them. I was just coming into the classes twice a week, and then there was a community theatre production of Coriolanus, which was it's a Shakespeare. Shakespearean tale of, it's a military tale actually. There's a hero, Coriolanus. He's the hero who saves everyone basically in all their wars, and then he comes back.
Power Reg, was he?
Yeah,
he sounds like it.
Sounded like one, but he was Essence, so he must have been a V-neck.
Yeah,
but he's a proper door kicker, so he probably was a Reg boy. But and he comes back. He's won all their wars. He's a super famous general, young, charismatic. Comes back. They elevate him to rule them all, basically. But through doing that, the politicians don't like their power being sapped away. And even though he saved them from the big bad enemy all these times, they convince the public that he's going to be a tyrant. And so now they cast him out. And he's classed as a traitor, and they cast him out. They vote him down, cast him out, and he leaves a broken man. You know, he's given his life, his entire life, to protecting them, saving them. He didn't want to be in charge. Gets forced into. Everyone's like, "You're so good, put you in charge," and they kick him out. They betray him, and he goes and joins the other side, who welcome him with open arms. And Aufidius, his main rival, basically, in this play, who I played, is basically.
Oh, so you had a main role then?
Yeah, mainly because
your first role.
Yeah, but only mainly because I think I was the only one who auditioned for it. Again, this was a community theatre thing, and so there were mainly female. People there, so lots of female roles. There was a bit of competition, but
female people,
women, women,
women,
yeah. I lose the term sometimes. I don't know what to call people half the time, but women were there. So lots of female roles, and a bit of competition for those. But for male roles, there were only like a few of us, so we kind of slotted into where we naturally fit. And Aufidius needed to be a warrior, and there was going to be some sword fighting. And so I was the only one who was actually in good enough shape to do that. So he was like, right, you're gonna have to do some work because this is one of the main roles. Okay. Actually multi-rolled as well. I played a couple of characters. It was proper community theatre, like hat off, new hat on, moustache on. Hello. And yeah, it's quite, it's Shakespeare. First time I'd ever done Shakespeare as well, which is a big thing, especially in the UK. It's like Shakespeare is, it's got a lot of history here. It's all of its history here, really. But so it was a big thing, and it went well for a community theatre project that had, I'm not saying we sold out. There was maybe 50 seats in this cinema, and it was probably 20 full every night, which isn't bad. We did it for maybe a week, I think. And my grandparents and my parents actually came down. They were very unsure about what I was doing after I'd left the military, gone into project management. They were really happy about that. All right, cool. He's all right. And then I'm like, I'm doing some
gone mad.
He's
gone mad.
Literally,
gone mad again.
I used to hear conversations. I used to hear them when I'd go around to visit. I'd be off playing with the dog around the corner, and they don't realise I'm there, and they're like, I do think it's a phase. I think you just need to get through this phase. Like I'm some 16-year-old or 14-year-old having an emo phase or something. Like, it's just a phase. He's going to get through this. And it would just make me chuckle. But yeah, but they came down to support, which is lovely. Which is really nice. And they came down, they supported me. They watched it, which I'm very happy about. My first ever production. Anyway, yeah, so it went all right. I didn't forget my lines too many times. Not going to lie, I wasn't really acting. I was mainly just gripping on remembering where I'm supposed to stand, say the right words, stare at the other guy, scared for my life the entire time, trying not to mess up.
Did you film it? Did you film it?
No.
No.
I wish I did.
Yeah. Look back at that.
Really good to look back on.
Cringe.
Now. Yeah.
You humiliate yourself.
Exactly. Sit there and whip myself with it every day. Don't do this again. Never do that. But that was the first one I ever did. So it was Shakespeare. But again, not many people came to see it, which is probably good. It was a good place to cut my teeth around people who, similar skill level, lots of people who weren't elite in the acting world. But it was good. And then what I did is I just kept doing that, going twice a week, and then I was in every production that this amateur theatre did for a while. No pay, no one was getting paid. It was just to help the theatre that was losing money. Just classic amateur theatre vibes. But because I kept doing it again, I got better. I got even better. And then the local Royal Theatre in this was in Portsmouth. Were like they were like, you're pretty good. We've come and seen a couple of these productions. We actually would see you in a minor role in one of ours, paid minor role. I was like, oh, brilliant. Fringe theatre in Portsmouth, great, yeah, I'll do a bit of that. So I did that, and then I got invited to come to a fringe theatre show in London. That was cool. Came to that.
When you say fringe theatre show, you mean one of the smaller theatres?
Small theatres, yeah. So like you get some of them like in the top of pubs and stuff where they've got a full theatre set up there with maybe 150 seats, and a stage and lighting crew and stuff. So again, like fringe theatre in London, that was brilliant. I'm getting in at the bottom in London, but still getting paid. That's cool.
Yes, awesome.
It's amazing. And then it turned into, off the back of that, I then started to get more and more gigs. Eventually, the Soldiers Arts Academy were doing a West End production.
Soldiers Arts
Academy, which was it was a community interest company, but it's effectively a charity who were trying to give arts to soldiers. Basically doing what my psychiatrist said, trying to help soldiers express.
Is it a lady who runs
Amanda
that?
Faber, yes.
I'm sure, yeah, okay.
You probably met her, yeah.
No, I've not met her. I've been introduced to her by email for a podcast, I think. But go on, Go on.
And they were doing a West End production of a show called Soldier On, which was written by Johnny Guy Lewis. And brilliant play. And it was going on to the West End. They'd done a tour around the UK. And this time, which had gone well, and this time it was going to the UK, going on to the West End. They were casting some more roles, and they were like, "We've seen you do some stuff. Do you want to come down? Show us what you can do. We'll give you a few lines, and we'll see if you're right for it." And ended up going on that West End run. So all of a sudden, I'm on the West End for 3 months. I think we were there, which is a short-ish run for that, but. To me, I was like, who cares? We're on the West End.
Yeah, how many shows are you banging out a week?
About 8, I think. It was 8 or 9. So there'd be a couple of 2-show days. There's a show every day until Saturday. On Saturday, sorry, including Saturday. Sunday you'd have off, and then some of those days would be double shows. So matinee and evening show.
It always interests me how people like yourself who've done those repetitive jobs, theatre, productions, how you maintain interest and motivation every day.
That's, I'd say,
because 3 months, like you're saying, short. Sometimes like 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, sometimes longer.
Once you've learnt the role and you're comfortable with it, and you can be really comfortable and just let that role live and come out of you, the job becomes, how do I stay interested in this? You find new things, you try and find anyway. It's difficult. Sometimes you have to fake it. But most of the time you're trying to find just something new each time. What's going to be the thing that's really going to interest me on this production? I'm really going to focus on, there's that moment that I didn't think meant anything. It's going to mean something today. I don't know what that's going to be, but I'm going to find meaning today. Because if you try and pre-plan that, I'm going to find that interesting. That's faking it, because you've already decided what's going to be interesting. It's not real. But if you just decide you're going to look for something interesting when you're there, 9 times out of 10 you'll find it. You look for something, you'll find it, and then you are genuinely finding something, and it's genuinely interesting you. And there's people sense that. People sense a real performance. It's just, and you can't put your finger on it. It's just something. It's an energy, a vibe. Don't know what it is, but you can tell it's real. And so, yeah, you're always trying to find, every day, trying to find something new to interest you. After the first 2 or 3 weeks, where it's all exciting and new, you're trying to find that thing. So yeah, that's it becomes the job to make sure you're still giving a good product over to the paying customer. Your job becomes, keep this interesting for you. Keep discovering things.
Yeah, so I was just trying to remember as well that each performance you do, probably everyone in that theatre, maybe barring 1 or 2 of them, it's all brand new to them. Yeah, they're in there and they want, like you said, a product. They want you to be entertained.
But there's a beauty in that, because you think the play on the back, like the back of your hand. So every time you make a mistake, it's glaringly obvious to you. It's like a sore thumb. You're like, whoa, a mistake. They have no clue. They think that could have been exactly what's supposed to happen. So a lot of the time, if you just roll with the mistake, it just happens, and just go with it and just enjoy it. It actually often makes it more exciting for you that someone made a mistake. And just roll with it and try and make the play continue in a fashion that makes sense. To them, a lot of the time, they think that was the best performance I've seen, and it was incredible, because you're so alive trying to fix this problem. You're really doing something again. If you've fallen into that just repetitive, I'm just going to deliver the lines like I always deliver the lines, blah, 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 blah. The energy's gone. You're just sitting back. Something goes wrong. Everyone comes alive. And all of a sudden, you might be watching it. Oh, I don't know what's just happened, but this is real now. Oh, something's going on. It's cooking. So yeah, it's remember. That's the beauty of it, that people haven't seen this before. They don't know what's going to happen. They don't know what's supposed to happen. So don't worry about it. Deliver the product, but any little minor things, probably going to make your performance better, to be honest. Enjoy that. And yeah, so we were doing it, say like 8 or 9 shows a week, I think. And it was amazing. And because of that, it was a 3-month commitment. So at this point, I hadn't quit my job yet. I'd been doing all of my acting on the side. And the time commitments had been fighting each other a little bit, my job versus the acting. But this was a 3-month commitment every day, Monday to Saturday. The only day I had off was Sunday. So I was like, I'd been offered it. And now I had to make a choice. And it was the first time I was going to be self-employed. Because before that, I was employed in the military. I was employed when I came out in a job that was paying well. This was, your pay is going to be bouncing around.
Yeah. It's problematic. It can be real problematic and a real thing to adjust to if you're used to same pay packet every month.
Very used. And, in the Corps, I was used to having my accommodation, everything come out of my pay packet before I even got it. The money I got was pocket money. That was millionaire's weekend, let's go out on the lash, and if I spend it all, it doesn't matter because everything's paid for.
Yeah.
If I run out of money, I've got ration packs I can hit, it's standard. And then I went in, I had a smaller adjustment of going into a normal job, project management job, where now it doesn't come out your pay, you need to account for these things, but it's a small adjustment, it wasn't a big one. But then it was turning into self-employed. How much are you going to earn? Don't know. Is it going to be consistent? Absolutely not. One month you might earn 10 grand. Next 6 months you might earn nothing. You better hope you start earning after that. It's a risk, high pressure, but the pressure is where I liked the pressure, but that was it felt really vulnerable to make that choice. One of the hardest choices that I ever made was quitting that job, losing that security, and going into the world of everything you earn is going to be based off whether someone's going to pay you and do your own taxes and blah, 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 blah. And then, again, that thing, I feared it, but I did it anyway. It was important to me. I think the fact I feared it so much is probably the thing that pushed me to do it. Because I need to do this. I clearly need to do this. I'm so scared of it. And I quit my job. Surprising everyone, including my family. Thought I was going mad again. But onto a West End production, once the PR around that started kicking up, people were like, oh, okay, maybe he can do this. We'll wait and see. We'll be there with the safety net, try and catch him. But it went really well. We did that West End tour. We then took the play on another UK tour, and then went on tour to Canada, to Toronto, and did the play for 2 weeks out there. Just 2 weeks, but awesome.
What's Toronto like?
It was expensive, very expensive, but really, really cool. The people were exceptionally friendly. Sports bars. I like sports bars in the UK here. They're just like any other pub, to be honest. They've just got sports playing.
It's got some screens, haven't they?
Yeah, exactly. It's a bar with screens. Whereas out there, they're properly into it. Everyone will be in their gear. They'll be watching the ice hockey. Everyone's eating the chicken wings out there were good. Were good. And their beer, they do a lot of IPAs. They're really into their microbrewery stuff. At least all the places we went to. Because again, I went out there at Cassidy Little, again, ex-bootneck but Canadian. So he was showing us all the good spots, and all the places he took us to had good chicken wings and lots of microbreweries. So maybe that was his thing. I don't know. But yeah, no, it was cool to be in another country doing a production that people could identify with as well. Again, they're quite proud of they've got the US vibe of they're very proud of their military, very supportive. So we had Cass who was Canadian, but we were supported by a local Canadian businessman who was an ex-veteran as well, called Roland Gossage. He runs a foundation out in Canada supporting veterans into work. I think it's like tech, but he also does the arts as well. And yeah, people came down to watch, really supported us. It was amazing. We were in Toronto doing a show for 2 weeks, sold out, a lot of performances. People loved it. We had some famous people come and see I'm trying to remember their names right now, but it feels really rude that I can't remember their names. But who's John Wick, the guy who runs the hotel?
Lovejoy.
Yes.
He played Lovejoy, didn't he? God,
Yes.
what's his name? God's sake.
Yeah.
Tim? Is it Tim something?
No, don't think so.
Hang on a minute. He went to see it, did he?
He came and saw and supported us.
Lovejoy actor. I'm just Googling it. Hang on a minute. Lovejoy.
I feel I'm just terrible with names, so I apologise to everyone.
Ian McShane.
Lovejoy. Ian McShane came and saw, and he really loved. We had great support. People, decent people come and see the production who know their work as well, who know what good things are and what bad things are, and really enjoyed it. And it was awesome. It was a really awesome experience. Keep getting a hair in my eye. And then after that, came back, and so I'd mainly done theatre at that point. and then it kind of from that moment, it kind of expanded. I got on I was a very small role on the Kingsman film, the newest, the third one, The Kingsman, as a Scottish jock sergeant, Black Watch sergeant, wearing my kilt.
Could you already do the accent before you got that part?
Yeah, my family, my dad's side of the family come from Scotland.
Oh, that's useful. Okay, that's
Yeah.
useful. Yeah, okay, good.
So I didn't embarrass myself in that way. And they were just like, you're Gwa, you're Ginger, you're Scottish, man. Oh, okay. Put that kilt on me. Yeah. I was like, that looks like a dress. I'm a bootneck. I can do that. All the Scottish people going mad at me right now. But and then it kind of expanded from there. I'd end up getting different TV jobs, different film jobs. And then for years, it was just slowly building, trying to get on bigger and better productions, just trying to expand it into a very, very competitive industry, very hard industry that requires skill, a lot of skill, but you need luck on your side as well. And, they say opportunity happens when preparation meets luck. That's what I like to say anyway. Lots of people say preparation meets opportunity. I'm like, nah, preparation meeting luck is where opportunity is. If you're not prepared for it when you are lucky, you might miss that opportunity. And trying to stay that way, and then building, and then it was COVID time. I'm like, well, do I have a career anymore? I don't know. Everything's shut down. I can't really do my job. And you're trying to find different ways of rebuilding your career once COVID's over, once you're all allowed back outside and people can start seeing stuff again. And I had a message from Tip Cullen, who's a former Royal Marine, mountain leader, probably the longest serving Royal Marine of all time, probably, because he's so old. Hoofing guy, top bloke. But and he was messaging me. He's like, there's these guys doing this, creating this production called Sunray. It's trying to be this military-based Royal Marines to the core kind of production. And they're looking for as many Royal Marines as we can find who are in the arts now. And there's not many. There are some. There's more than you think, but less, So, and he was like, I know you. So I want you to meet the boys, have a chat with them. And we talked. I showed them my stuff. This is what I do. This is my CV. Fairly decent now by this point. I've done some pretty decent stuff. I performed Shakespeare at the Globe in London. I've done some good stuff. And yeah, they gave me some of the script, let me read over it. We bounced it around, did it a few times. I'm like, yeah, we'd love you to come on board as Smudge, Echo 2, one of the main characters in the film. And it was really important to me to be a part of that, because this was Royal Marines trying to do. When I looked at it at a base level, it was my journey coming out of the Corps. It was someone who had no real relationship to the arts, trying to do something really ambitious, move into that space and take ground. And that's what these guys were trying to do. They knew they didn't have much credibility in the industry because we're military guys. What do we know?
Who came up with the idea?
There's three guys. There was Dan Shepherd, James Clark, and Sam Seeley. These were the three guys who came up with the idea, started coming up with the idea anyway, and writing it. And then it evolved once the more people who got in, like me and Tip, started to drip feed things in, make suggestions, evolve it from there. But the core concept came from them. They're the ones who came to us saying, "Oh, got an idea. It's a crazy idea. Bear with us while we explain it to you." And for me and Tip being in the arts already, we love those crazy ideas because that's how they're often the ones that actually are successful. You got to be ambitious. You got to shoot for the stars and land on the moon, And yeah, it was a bootneck story. Not in terms of the story is actually applicable to anyone in the services, but in terms of it was bootnicks trying to do something, and I wanted to be a part of that. And it's in my space, and I want to help. I wanted to help and be a part of that. So I came on board really happily, and then we cast out the other roles, as many bootnicks as we could, and then once we got our core team in, went out, got all lads from all the services in. There's RAF Reg guys, there's Power Reg guys, there's everyone getting involved. It was a real forces production. And then lots of the other roles, civilian roles.
Reg blokes who are in the arts.
Yeah, well, as in, photographers, etc. People, even like Lev. Lev wasn't involved in this, but people like that who are, not necessarily doing the performing, but I'd love to see. I think there must be a performer who is Reg. I don't know. A Reg lad. And if there's not, that is a key opportunity right there, I'd say.
Yeah, I've interviewed a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of guys, again, for future stuff, that get in contact, want to make stuff. And we want to make real stuff, we want to tell our stories. Be they bootneck stories, Reg stories, Tier 1 stories, whatever those stories are. Let's tell them. And we're the best people to tell them, We are, so this is one of the funny things, actually, on a slight tangent, but that I found I wanted to scrape out that space in the arts, is that people often think military people aren't necessarily very good at expressing ourselves. We're not very good at, why are Hollywood doing these military stories and they're getting lots of stuff wrong? Because they're asking military people, and military people aren't really telling them the whole story, because we're not that good at telling the story anymore. We don't like telling the story, potentially. And I was like, okay, well, I wanted to scrape out that space and being like, it's our own fault. If we're not liking what we're seeing, it's our own fault. We need to change it and tell that story more. And so the best people to tell the story is us, even though we're the worst ones at telling that story right now. So let's change that. Let's tell this story in a way that we think is legit, that we can identify with, and not have too many issues with, Susat's on backwards, all that kind of, getting rid of the military advisory side, but also the performance side of someone you can be like, he's really lived that experience, and I can believe it. It's all these minor things. If I had to explain that to an actor, it would take a long time, because there's, as you know, what do you feel enough? How, if I was an actor who had no idea, I'm going to be in this firefight, and what am I feeling, and what am I looking at? You'd be like, right, this list will go on forever. You kind of have to have lived it and know it, because it's forever changing. But you can just tell someone who's been in some hairy situations and knows how to deal with it. And so the best people to do that, in my opinion, veterans who become actors. And so that was my take on a big reason for me, or at least the big reason for me now, is I can bring real authenticity to that. And that's what I think all these guys coming into the arts from the military can bring, real authenticity. And it's a phrase that's bandied about a lot, but I really mean it. Real authenticity.
The first springs to mind when you talk about that is the drill sergeant from Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah,
because you've seen the film, obviously, yeah. Because he was initially, if I remember this correctly, he was brought in to advise on that, I think, and they ended up saying, actually, we're going to cast you as that part. And he's an actor now. I say he's an actor now. Obviously, that was filmed in the 70s, Full Metal Jacket, 70s, 80s, was it? Yeah. And he went in full time into acting after that.
Yeah.
But, it's, again, that authenticity. I don't think you could get a non-drill instructor of that type, of that personality, of those mannerisms to pull off that if they hadn't done the job.
No, yeah, it's very rare, very rare. I do think there's some actors who are just incredible, who can just about do it. They can pull it off, but I'd say 95% of the time, unless you've got a veteran actor, it's not going to be the real thing. You're not going to get that legit product.
Maybe it's enough to satisfy the audience, but
maybe,
more often than not, that's all you need to do.
It's an important thing to remember, that at the end of the day, exactly, you're getting what we're doing is trying to entertain people. It's part of the thing. You can have you can have side little missions that we want to also send a message, etc., etc. But the main thing, people want to be entertained by that story. And it's a fine line you've got to walk, because I've military advised some films. And it's one of the things I pride myself on, is being able to walk that fine line, understand what their goals are, and I can make it as realistic as possible before I start taking things away from this entertainment side, whatever their goal is. So I did the One Shot franchise with Scott Adkins.
Okay.
It's about a US Navy SEAL who's basically one-man army. You know the kind of movie, single man taking on an army, basically Rambo-esque in that regard. But directed by James Nunn, great little fun movie. It's there to entertain people, and they want to get it as right as they can while still entertaining. And so that I walk that fine line. I try and make him do as many drills as possible, and they'll go in, right, I need to take out these 7 guys, and each way I take them out needs to be different. And this is where they're going to be, and this is how I'm going to do it. And we'll go through, and I'll basically, the first one through, I'll go, this is how you'd actually, if you were in this situation, which is a terrible situation, by the way, like, this is how you'd try and do it. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, cool. We can probably use 2 of those, but if we keep doing it, it's a bit boring. You're cutting the pie every time. It's getting a bit boring. Okay, well, we could do a failure drill, transition on here, and you transition sidearm, and we're going to do that, and pump 2 in his chest, boom. Okay, cool. Then can a guy come from behind me? Yeah, you probably just die at this moment. You've come into this room and he's in the corner and you haven't checked your corner. Can you check your corners? Yeah, okay, we can move him slightly. He can check his corners, but he's still going to do something quite impressive here. And okay, that's fine. He can do something quite impressive. Okay, cool. And then this last guy is also going to come from behind him. He's going to somehow sixth sense that he's there. Well, this is getting a bit. Can he get hit in the plate by a, Yeah, he's got an AK. Don't shoot him with that, because that would go straight through his plate at this range. Can we use something a little bit smaller rounds? Can he maybe come in with a sidearm? And then that hits his plate and that spins him around. And he takes the last guy out. Cool, great. For the next 10 minutes, can he be breathing like he's broken a rib? Why? Because getting hit's probably broke his rib. And they're like, what? I thought the body armor. Yeah, that kinetic force is still hitting you. It still hurts a lot. Oh, okay. It's just doing those kind of things where you watch the film and it's still like a ridiculous scenario. It's still one man taking on an army, but you try and drip in these little bits of realism where you can, and it's a fine line to walk, because if you went in there and just go, no, not realistic, that wouldn't happen, it wouldn't be that entertaining.
No, my favourite one, and it's one that you wouldn't be able to change in production, because you just wouldn't be able to change it. And it is when it's any scene when anyone is shooting a firearm inside a vehicle.
Yeah.
Or a very small room. You're like, you're all deaf now.
Yeah. Exactly.
And you're in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
And you may get through it because of your adrenaline, but certainly afterwards, no one's talking to each other. No one's hearing each other. No. So it's not happening. But you have to have firing inside vehicles in cars, and they can't be wearing ear defense ahead of the time.
And also, the rule of cool, right? Being Ali saved lives.
Shotgun in the car. Really?
Yeah.
But you couldn't take it away. So it's one of those you have to go, okay, accept it.
Well, also I think like silenced weapons. I mean, and we're even guilty of this a little bit. Is you always tone down the noise a little bit too much for a suppressed weapon in film. I mean, John Wick's there's that scene where they're like they're walking past and like, and everyone else is just walking past, it's like nothing's going on, and they're just under his jacket shooting. I mean, it still sounds like a clap. Instead of a round, the sound traveling a kilometer, it's maybe traveling 400 meters now, the sound, but it's still traveling. It's still like a clap next to it. It's still a loud sound. But for film, that your average civilian gets very confused if you do that, because it's always got a suppressor on. Why is that? Should be quiet. So you're kind of playing that game, and also it's just less entertaining if it's just a little.
There's an accepted reality now, isn't there, by the audience saying, by the audience. It's like, I say accepted reality. It is the reality with which they think is correct, because for decades that's been the case, isn't it? Yeah. Ever since silencers first appeared in films, like
I think probably James Bond. I reckon probably like
amazing. Yeah,
but and that was not to shit on John Wick. I think John Wick's awesome, a really fun franchise. Love it, but that's just one that stuck out in my head. That's what people think silencers do. It's not. They're mainly hiding muzzle flash, to be honest, most of the time. That's their main purpose. And then reducing the sound is like a secondary benefit. But it's a reduction, not an elimination. But yeah, and so doing that military advisory side, again, like walking that fine line, it's a real fine line to walk. And so that's why I'm judgmental, everyone is, on every production, but I often know the military advisor probably did notice the thing that you've noticed. And he probably decided, one, either tried to change it and couldn't, or decided it was best left alone most of the time. And also it's often one guy, and there's a million things happening. You got to decide where your focus is. But this was a production. Sunray was a production where we didn't need a military advisor because all the lads were either ex-bootnecks or were bootnecks. You know, it's pretty easy. In fact, a lot of the action scenes, we wouldn't rehearse them. They would just give us the situation. Again, most of these situations are pretty rubbish ones in as a four-man team having to go up against such overwhelming odds. In reality, probably would wait for backup. You know, this might not be the best idea. But in this situation where you are a four-man team and you have to get through this, they'd go, right, this is the situation. This is the building. We're not going to tell you where people are. Just going to arm some lads up. They're going to go in there, play enemy. Off you go. Clear that. You are trying to get from A to B in there. You're trying to clear this space. You're trying to make sure you're keeping eyes on any threats. You're aware of all your threats. You know, clear it. There's four of you. Go. This is how much ammo you got. Go. All right. And we just roll through, and they'd be there with the camera, and again the guys on the camera were ex-bootnecks, so they're like, they know where this will be a great angle because I know he's going to come around this corner like that. I know he's going to boom blast around the corner, checking that corner, and they're there waiting for with the camera. It's just saves a lot of time.
Even had the cameramen, the camera operators were bootnecks.
Yeah, so the camera operators were they were the directors as well. So Dan Shepherd and James Clark, they were directing. One would be directing, one would be on the camera, which I think is a really cool team choice there, because they'd swap over, but you know, they know what they're trying to get. Often there's that really vital communication between a cameraman or DOP, director of photography, and the director. They're trying to get onto the same wavelength. He's trying to put what he wants to see in the DOP's brain, and the DOP's trying to capture that. So when they're already on the same page, it's beautiful. They can really it's just so much easier.
So how long have they been working together?
Oh, they've been working together for years. They were in the Corps together, and then ever since they moved into the realms of photography, and they've gone in together. Probably, I'd say they've maybe been doing photography kind of stuff for 5 or 6 years now, I'd say. Probably 5 years, I reckon. I don't know exactly, but very talented boys, really talented. They've got a gift for it. Not that the hard work they've put into learning it, absolutely, but they've got a gift.
Oh, like I said, I was very, very surprised at the quality of the production, of the quality of the film.
Yeah,
you know, immediately as soon as I pressed play, and I think, fucking hell, this looks professional.
Yeah.
This looks like Hollywood.
That's what Glenn,
yeah.
Where's this wasn't done on the back of a fag packet. What's going on here?
No.
What's going on here?
So before when we first started, you were talking about, well, how you got into acting. That was the arts, I should say, like the suggestion from the psychologist, from the med people, the people who know better than you and I.
Yeah.
Are you sure? How long have you been acting for now?
Since 2016, 2017. So.
Okay. So as that time has gone on, how is the healing process gone, shall I say? That's a very fluffy word to use on the X-Mill, but you know, how have you improved in yourself compared to the start?
Hugely. Obviously, impossible to put a figure on it. And
all attributable to the acting, you reckon?
all instigated, I'd say, from the acting. I think most of the healing, if we should call it that, comes from yourself, figuring stuff out, coming to terms, accepting things. It was instigated by the arts, and then that expression, letting stuff out, expressing myself in those things. But yeah, I'm so much better now. And funny enough, when I first left, talking about my experiences and what happened to me would be a difficult thing. It would make I'd feel it, the anxiety, just a ball of bad shit whenever I talk about my experiences. Whereas now I can talk about them, not that I don't feel nothing, but as in that ball is no longer there.
Did you injured on the ground, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what I found was, it's not even just, it's specifics. When people say, like, oh, have you ever fired your weapon? Or what's it like doing this and doing this and doing this? I can talk about those, everything now. I can talk about it, and it doesn't work. And if I ever get a feeling, when anyone asks me a question where I'm like, oh, I'm not so sure about that, it's a great indicator for me to be like, you need to do some work. You need to, think about that, start expressing yourself a bit more about that, because there's clearly something that's locked away in there that you need to.
I think you're right. I think a lot of the time, because it's not an uncommon feeling, I think even for anyone who hasn't ever suffered from PTSD or been injured in any way, or in fact, not even military, anyone who is, if I could say this is every person, they've experienced something emotionally impactful in not necessarily a positive way. Something has really impacted them. Death of someone, near-death experience of themselves, a severe illness, betrayal, betrayal by a loved one. And I think, exactly what you're saying. That ball is partly not understanding what you feel about the question or the query, or what you're thinking, and or not being able to articulate it in the way you need to. And that is classic with X Million, in that you think, no one will understand. How do I explain this feeling?
And it's really painful to touch that ball. And because you don't understand
how to explain it,
you've got to hold it for longer.
You don't want to go near it. You don't want to go near it, because that gets into the realms of expression, as you've talked about a bunch of times, and opening doors to emotions that you don't know what those doors hold. You don't know how big that emotional tidal wave is behind it. You don't know what the emotion is, positive or negative. You don't know what the impact is going to be. It's certainly something I wrestled with for a long time. And I had to consciously make a decision to go, I need to really work on being more emotional, displaying emotions, because you have to display emotions.
We're humans. It's what makes us.
Not just extreme ends, like you said. It really resonated when you talk about that. Like, it's not just the negative; it's also the positives, like extreme happiness, extreme sadness, or extreme elation and anger. But nothing in between. Nothing in between. Because those extreme ends, because those extreme ends of the emotional spectrum, if you want, they need to be triggered by extreme events, and anything in between. It's very difficult to see anything very few things as extreme. So therefore, you
end up hunting for those extreme things.
Sorry?
You potentially end up hunting for those extreme things because you want to feel something. Because life is about feeling things. So you're like, I'm going to go hunt, whether it's an extreme positive or often an extreme negative. You're going to try and find that, hunt for it to feel something. And
the thing is, it is a big step to Never mind opening yourself up emotionally to other people. It's a big step just to decide, I'm going to try and understand why I feel what I feel. Because I think most people can do it. Most can do it. You can understand what they say. most people who are like generally well, they're not really ill, and I mean mentally ill. They haven't got like chronic depression, or they haven't got real acute PTSD. That is difficult to tie to one event. I think most people can have that introspection and sit there and go, why do I get angry? Why do I get really agitated when someone mentions this person's name?
Yeah.
Or when someone asks me this kind of a question, why does that happen? And then they look at it and go, oh, because you've literally got to analyze your own emotions.
Yeah.
Not a nice thing for blokes to do. And blokes in particular, not a nice thing to do.
You've got to separate it and analyze it, because to you in the moment, you don't think you're acting in an odd way. It makes sense in the moment. Everything makes sense because you're you. And I'm just being me in this moment in time. And in this moment in time, I'm exceptionally fucking pissed off right now. But afterwards, you look, you're like, what? What was that? In the moment, you don't see it.
No, I think we get caught. I say blokes in particular because women are just better. Women are just better with emotions. They're better with other people's emotions.
Yeah,
and they're better with their own. I think they're just more in touch with themselves, right?
Definitely better at telling me what I'm feeling. And okay.
yeah. Telling you when you think you're right, but no, you think you're wrong.
Yeah.
But the other thing is, I think men tend to also, I'm generalizing, I know, but men tend to also be more willing and more likely to not want to address things and just carry on moving forward because they want to maintain stability, because that is what is required for survival. I need to be stable, I need to be focused. It doesn't matter what these feelings are. If I'm here and I'm providing, I'm protecting, and I'm going forward and I'm resisting, and I am ready for threats, then that's what matters. Yeah. Never mind my fucking feelings.
Yeah, I can deal with that afterwards.
Yeah.
Put it on the back burner. Yeah.
That's okay in short stints when you need to be like that. But most people don't need to be like that. Most people will never have to be like that. And most people, like you and I, will only ever have to be like that for a short fraction of our lives. Even the guys who did 20, 25, 30, 35 years in some cases, only a fraction of those careers do they have to be on the edge all the time.
Yeah.
But it changes. Being on the edge just some of the time, that changes your whole persona for life. Well, you don't need to be like that all the time.
Yeah, it's like we're habitual creatures. The longer you do something, the more it sets in. But it's one of the things through training and through the career, the way I was as a person was useful actually for the job. And I understand, like in training, where you're trying to, where they break you down and they rebuild you and create you in a more efficient way to be an operator. That's required, and I fully understand it. We're really good at it in the UK. Really good at breaking people down and rebuilding them in a more efficient, more effective way to be a soldier. But we have no idea, once we've taken the things out, how to put them back in. We're great at taking them out, and we create fantastic soldiers. But at the end, how do we put the things back in? No one knows. No one even thinks to do it, because it's not even a consideration. And that's why I'm a big proponent of the arts might not be the perfect thing, but it's the best thing I've ever found for filling those holes back in. And it doesn't have to be performing. I'm not saying everyone should be an actor. You'll find everyone has an art that they like. They might not even realize it, but even just listening to music, that's art. Music is art. Performing music, producing music. You could just be the producer. You could be, you could be the producer. You could be, it could be painting, drawing, photography, so many different types of art styles. And you'll find one that you really vibe with. For me, it was acting, but for others, it could be anything.
I got a friend with a lot of mental health issues, which stem predominantly from the military, and he discovered painting.
Yeah,
and he's one of those guys you think, you painting.
Yeah, right.
And he doesn't do it he's not a Picasso. His stuff's good enough that my dad will hang it on his wall.
Yeah.
He got a piece from him, but he gets value from painting. He doesn't do it all the time, but he does it occasionally. And I also love the stuff. that he does, because one, they're not bad, and two, I know what has driven that piece of artwork. I know what was behind it. I know that piece of art is just, but it's like the tip of the iceberg, and the iceberg is just in motion. Whatever it is that he's painted, and you go, fucking hell, man, It's a lot. You find it's a lot like that with stuff in art and like the film, like Sunray. You look at that, you go, fucking hell, this is a bunch of veterans who want to come together and do something from their tribe, bootnecks, and put something great together and make it a great production, and they have. And you go, this is fucking awesome. It makes you enjoy the thing even more when you know something about the people, the personalities, and the motivation behind it.
Absolutely, and it's the first step as well. It's the first, because this is our first purely military-led production where the military lads are in charge, and in front of the camera and behind the camera, we're directing this, we're writing it, we're producing it, and we're acting in it, performing in it. And it's the first step. So the fact that the first step is good, and as we know, the more you do them, things get better, and we're learning all the time. I'm very excited for what what military stories we're going to tell in the future, and how they should hopefully all be better. The production will get better each time as we learn more and more and more. But even as a first hoof, it's a good film. It's enjoyable, it's entertaining, and it ticks a lot of boxes that you want to see from a military film. Which is, I think, just really exciting. It's a really exciting time.
Did it cause any problems on set having all military with the non-mil? Was it? Because I think I've talked about this in the past, but I think, that ex-military veterans bring something to the table. Yes, we are really good at some stuff. But then in a corporate environment, I think also I wouldn't want a company like a corporate entity full of veterans. That would have problems. There'll be problems there.
There's some issues, but a lot of it's nothing we couldn't power through. And to be honest, most of the civvies on board, who are all fantastic at their jobs. Again, we hired them because they were just brilliant at what they do. They were really excited to work, because they've worked with individual military guys before, but work with a military unit now, a functioning military team. They were excited to work with that and integrate with that, and they learned a lot from that. So it was actually fairly painless for the most part. They had certain things, but for the most part, it's pretty good, and people were excited, even on the big executive level of when it gets to distributing the film and you're speaking to these bigwigs trying to get your film out there. Even they're like, we've never spoken to a military team before. We like how blunt you're being, because we don't know.
The thing is, when you get a group of people together, as you know, and this goes for, I think, a group of people from particular backgrounds, kind of service orientated or danger orientated, or putting your life on the line for the greater good orientated, firemen, policemen, health service, whatever, military. When you get a bunch of those people together, whether you're in a pub, whether you're in a boardroom, whether you're in on the set of a production, they come together and immediately it changes the vibe. The culture comes back. That culture they're always part of, everything about the culture, the way they speak, the way they interact, their mannerisms, their physical interactions with each other, the way they hold themselves, the words they use, the stuff they wear, the way they conduct themselves, what they think about themselves.
And what you think is possible.
How they interact with other people outside the tribe, the community, all that culture immediately clicks back in straight away. So if you're an outsider looking in, or you're part of it, because essentially the civvies were the arts and debts, basically. They were the to explain to civilians listening or watching this, an attachment or a detachment is a military unit, a person or a small unit of people with a specialist skill who will get attached to a fighting unit or a major unit to go and do a mission operation. Marines, paras, name your infantry unit, they will have like signalers, communications people, medics, civilian engagement teams, police. These are all attachments, and they get brought into the culture, and they have to assimilate, they have to integrate. But if you are not part of that culture, you've never experienced it before, it can be an eye-opening experience, especially where the physical and the verbal interactions is concerned. It's like, I haven't spent a lot of time inside bootneck units. I know Power Edge, and probably for normal infantry units, that it is extremely aggressive. When you look from the outside, the way we interact is extremely aggressive. Almost every interaction I have with my closest friends, almost every interaction I have when we get together, it's almost every sentence an insult. Even if we're communicating information, we manage to turn it into an insult. We manage to turn it aggressive. But that's the way we communicate. It's totally normal.
Just throwing a few digs in.
Throwing a few digs in. But you could spend a whole day, and it would go that way the entire day. Psychologists would have a field day. But they're not there, so
exactly. Definitely not there. Be a minefield for them, actually.
But it must have been a real eye opener both ways, really. I suppose. Was there any guys who on the production who it was their first time working on a production? The military guys, I mean.
Quite a few in terms of working on that kind of feature narrative led production. Yes, because a lot of them had done photography for or small production value stuff for the military, for example, or doing photography on the side. And this was the first time they'd done it for a narrative-led, feature-length commercial film. And that's the brilliant thing about the military guys is learn quick. You show them once. That's it. They don't need to be shown again. Or at the worst, shown twice.
I don't know.
At the worst. Well,
I don't know.
Maybe we had good
I met some guys. I knew some guys once. Show them 50 times.
Yeah. But the lads, we showed them once, at worst twice, and they've got it. They've got it down. Paying attention, digging out blind, and it's that thing, again, that thing of like, it's not, on a normal production, you go on a civvy production, if it's not your job, you don't touch it. There's that ethos, because it's not my job, but also there's like a protectiveness of like, don't touch my stuff on a civvy production. And then on a military one, everyone's just mucking in. So things just happen quicker, and it's like, that needs to be carried over there. Everyone's on it. The Tip, who is the lead of the film, he'll be there carrying everything, like, let's go, let's do it. You rarely see that on a normal production. Go back to your trailer. No. Let's just get this done. Oh, lads, we've only got 4 hours left, and we need to light this. So these, you've got the two directors who know lighting down to a T. But we're just like, yeah, we'll help you set it up. Just tell me where to put this light. I don't know what I'm doing. Just tell me. But I'll do the manual, and then we'll get it done. We'll smash this. Get done, lads. We're going to go over by 3 hours. Cool. We're not getting paid. Cool. I don't care. Let's get this done. We're here to get it done. We're a team. We've set our objective, and let's nail it. Let's get that done. It's a different vibe, but there's some real good things that come out. Really good things that come out.
Yeah, I think TV and film, from my limited experience, is a great place. It is very suited to the military, and I predominantly mean you're off camera. The crew is predominantly. It's really suited to ex-military, I do think, off camera. I mean, on camera, I say, because this acting is very particular, right? But off camera, for exactly the reasons you said, it's almost like organized chaos. There's so many people, so many areas of expertise. There's so much going on. There's so much organization and coordination and logistics and all that. Even sometimes even down to the second in terms of organizational planning and hitting the milestones and hitting the deadlines when you're doing something, especially if you're paying through the teeth for a particular, to be in a particular location to be able to film there. We're talking London and stuff like that.
They borrow stuff from the military. You get movement orders. First light, last light.
I heard someone mention this to me before. Who mentioned it to me before? I can't remember who mentioned it to me. Bags may have mentioned it to me,
They have it. They have it. They've 100%. Someone's come off their twos just been promoted to section commander, and they've brought their book, and they're like, just eat out of that, because there's so much stuff you're like, I recognise this.
Mm.
The only thing they don't have is model pits, and I think they should. Like, yeah, you say you have your first light, your last light, your movement orders, and it all comes through. It's quite comforting actually when I get those things, and I'm like, I feel at home again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It is an eye opener. I would recommend. I mean, there's loads of different databases and websites you can sign yourself up for. But I would recommend anyone who fancies just doing something different once in a while. Get your name down on what you've got. You've got
in terms of the
you've got Soldier in Blue.
Soldier in Blue, Services to Film.
Services to Film.
There is I'm missing a really big one.
Soldier in Blue, Services to Film. Big one.
Yeah, there is.
What, military one?
Yeah, there is another one.
Okay, but so hopefully I'll come back.
Yeah, I'll come back. I'll apologise if I forgot.
Yeah, so if anyone, could spare a
Military
day
Film
occasion.
Services. There it is. MFS.
Military Film Service. Oh, of course. Yeah. I've had him on the podcast.
Yeah.
I've had him on the podcast. What's his name? Oh man, I have to look this up. Military Film Services. Yeah. Military Film Services. So if anyone, you can put your name down these databases, and you'll get asked if you want to go and do it. You can say no, it's not a problem. But you may get thrown an opportunity to go and work on a film set or a TV series set for a day, a couple of hours, maybe a bunch of days over a few months. And if you can do it, I'd suggest going and doing it just for a night, just for the interest sake. Even if you've got no interest, and you get paid for it.
You get paid. And pay's not. It's not the best, but it's not bad.
It's not bad at all.
Not bad at all.
If you're in the London area or in the area of a big city, particularly London, it's you haven't got to travel far.
Yeah,
well, it's worth it.
Yeah, you can make 150, 200 quid a day, easy, on those kind of jobs, and then it scales up.
Do you know what was a gift? I when I first did my first and only thing to date, is it? It was during COVID, just towards the tail end of COVID. That was a gift, because we'd have to go for a COVID test. So if we had to have haircut or a fitting done, it was you must have experienced the same thing. Yeah, of course, because you started in 2016. COVID test the day before the haircut, for example. Then you'd go for the haircut. Then you'd have to have another COVID test before you go and do the shoot, if the shoot was next day. And if you're shooting the day after, if you could do in 2 days in a row for the shoot, you'd have a COVID test on the same day as the shoot. All those things were paid for. All of them were paid for, like half day rate. No, COVID test was a half day rate. It's like fucking hell. I'm getting like 80 quid or whatever it was to have a COVID test.
I normally have to pay to stick things inside.
Getting paid for a haircut. Yeah. MFS. I gotta look up his name.
Yes.
Military Film Services. I'm really gutted. I can't remember his name. Military Film Services, MFS casting. Oh, I've got him in the phone book actually. I'm doing a big disservice here for not MFS. Freddie Kemp. Freddie. Sorry,
Freddie's the new owner. Yeah, because it was owned by someone else before, and Freddie owned it.
That's right. Yeah. It was a few years back. Freddie
was on Kingsman. That's the first time I met.
Was he?
He was the military advisor on the Kingsman.
Oh, okay.
He loves his pacing stick. Oh, Freddie.
Yeah.
Loved it.
I'm reading a book at the moment. It's the last in the series of the Asimov sci-fi, the Foundation. Anyway, there's a reference in the very last book to military, and it's observing this military commander guy, Sergeant Major presumably, and it's talking about it's basically what's a pacing stick, and it's called a laser rod or something, and it's saying it's got these laser rods, and for some reason these laser rods have stuck around for thousands of years, and they don't serve any purpose other than to be held in the arm, and they don't do anything anymore. It's like they still carry them around. I think that's a pacing stick. So what is the point of a fucking pacing stick? Guards would argue differently.
Oh, absolutely.
Guards would argue differently. Yeah.
I think he was. He liked the fact that there was a lot of veterans on it, but once you found out it was a bootneck, and
on Kingsman,
Freddie was like, he's into his drill, especially because of the period they were doing it. And as a bootneck, I'm not into my drill. I mean, you've seen us come to attention. That's what I love. might be the reason I joined the Corps. Didn't want to stamp my feet. I just drag it in. And he'd be like, what are you doing? I'm like, mate, don't worry about it. It's just drill. Don't worry about it.
What have you not covered that you wanted to cover?
I don't know. Things coming up. I just did a film with Toby Kebell and Shia LaBeouf.
No fucking way.
Yeah, boxing film.
There were two people that are on my hit list for podcast. If they said, who do you want? Anyone you can have. Anyone on the podcast. And the two people are Ellie Rosell, who's the Wolf Alice lead singer, and the second person is Toby Kebell. 100%. He is under the radar on social media.
Is.
What's he like? Do you mind me asking that? What's he like as an individual? Is he as intense as I would imagine he is?
I'd say he's probably less.
Meet my expectations, you man.
He's fun. He's funny. He is non-stop cracking jokes. That's what he does. That's his vibe.
He's non-stop
cracking jokes.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's so. When you perform with this, everyone has a different method, right, of getting into
Shia LaBeouf's a fucking legend as well, man. I watched Peanut Butter Falcon again the other day.
Incredible actor. Yeah. Incredible. Just as soon as he walks on, you just can't not look at him, which is great for an actor.
I think it might just be you, mate.
It might just be, yeah. I have to sit down and I'm like, Tom, can you stand up? I'm like, give me a minute.
Cross your legs.
Give me a minute. But like, he's just magnetic, which is, brilliant for an actor. But and Toby, but they Toby and Shia, their method's very, very different. Shia is in, when he's on set, he's in character and he will remain in character. And you can still talk to him and he still can come out of it a little bit to have that conversation with you, and then he's back in character. And he stays in it and he's there and he's so grounded in that character, so realistic.
So as soon as he turns up, as soon as he walks out of the
when he says
the makeup,
he had a thing he used to say. He said after I've said good morning to you, I'm in character. And he's in character. He can kind of come out of it just a little bit, just to have that chat with you. Yeah. If it's like you need, he's having some direction from the director, or he's having that chat, he can kind of break character just a little bit to have a chat with you, and then he goes back in. And then at the end of the day, when he says "Good day, everybody," boom, he's out of character now, fully. Really? He leaves it at work. Because lots of people say he's method and he's method all the time. He's not.
Well, he gets mixed reviews from people in terms of what he's like to work with. I've heard horror stories.
Well, so I can see exactly where people might have problems, but it's because he's one of the most misunderstood people, I think, in the industry.
In what way?
So
I like him.
I think he's brilliant. He is extremely intense, so intense, and he's so passionate about what the project that he's working on at that moment in time. He's so passionate about it. Not just him, but that everyone is going to do the right thing, because he so wants it to be right, which is brilliant if you understand that. But if you don't understand that's where he's coming from, you're like, this guy's off. He's so intense. He's off. He's like caged lion, or should probably stay away from that, because it's like chaotic energy. But it's not. He's just so passionate about it. So if people take him the wrong way and they think they're like, oh, don't go there, you'll have a horrible time. Only if you don't understand that it's just passion. If you understand it's passion, you can 100% deal with them. And I had a great time with him. It was all, I'd work with him again at a drop of a hat. But once you understand it's that passion, you can when it comes at you, you know what it is. You can just deal with it. Like, all right, mate, calm. Yeah, I get it. I'm here with you as well. I'm here with you as well. I'm understanding. I'm just working with it slightly differently, and he's brilliant. His performances are unparalleled, I'd say, in terms of just like how grounded, how real it is. You feel he's really there. He's really living it.
What about Toby? And
Toby is not in character at all. They'll be counting down 4, 3, 2, and he'll still be cracking jokes to you. 1, and then it just on that one. It's the quickest I've ever seen it, because he will literally joke and be laughing hysterically until that number 1, boom, he's in character. It's all gone. It's all gone. He's in character, does the scene.
So I used to think that the method acting was that was like, oh my God, that's ninja, that's amazing. And then over the last couple of years, I've been thinking about it, and I actually think Sorry, Shia. Well, it's not method acting, is it? But like staying in character for prolonged periods, when the cameras are off, I actually think that is the easier route to good acting, right? Than the Toby style. In that, because I see the talent is in going from this to this, this personality to this personality. Whatever you're saying, whatever you're doing, just flicking a switch and instantly switch over, and you're instantly unrecognizable. Unrecognizable in everything but the skin, the color of your skin, the clothes you're wearing. That's where the talent is, I think.
I think there's pros and cons to both, because
sorry, I don't mean that's where the talent is. I think that is harder than the other way.
I think they're both harder in their own ways. So from my experience, dropping into character, it's hard. It's harder to drop into character that quickly. It's hard just to suddenly drop into that character, but you don't have to hold on for it for very long. Because what is often the case in acting is you can get into character, but how long can you hold on to that for? You start to, it's like a car and it's starting to wobble, and then to the end you might crash out, and they call cut because you've just clearly fallen out of the character because you just can't hold on to it for very long. Whereas, so it's harder to get into character, but easier to because you only have to stay there a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Whereas method, it's easier to slowly get into that character and stay there, but harder to stay there for that length of time to remain that person.
Okay.
You kind of have to have a stronger foundation that you've built that you can live in as that person, that foundation of that character. That needs to be stronger because you're going to stay there and you're not going to leave. Whereas you don't need a stronger foundation if you're just going to drop in.
Yeah.
Because you don't have to stay there for as long. Both harder in their own ways. Both create different things. Both of them were incredible actors.
What was the production?
It's called Salvable.
Salvable.
It's a disservice for me saying it's a boxing film, but that's how it's been marketed. But it's a man's journey he was a former professional, semi-professional boxer, really good.
Based on a true story or not?
No. Well, as every story, parts are pulled from life, but it's an amalgamation of different stories. And he's a former professional, semi-professional boxer who got in with the wrong people, went to jail, came out. He has a daughter, but he's split up from his marriage. He's really trying to do the right by his daughter, but he's working a job at, a dead end job. It's not paying him enough money. He can't get custody of his child. He's only got visitation rights. He's trying to do better, to create this better life for himself, so he can create a better life for his daughter.
Who plays that character?
Toby.
And
he's just struggling, and all he's ever known is fighting. He knows he got in with the wrong crowd, but it was kind of just a mistake of youth. But he's trying to do better now, so he can do better for his daughter, and he loves his daughter and wants to be with her, but it's just that relationship is very difficult because his environment is not conducive to the child. So he's often not let to see his child, or it's just, those difficult situations that many people have experienced. Many guys have experienced where they're not allowed to see their child as often as they'd like, and they want to do better, and they want to. And he's working his dead end job, and it's all going wrong. And then his former best friend comes out of jail, Shia LaBeouf, who comes to see Toby.
It's based in America, is it?
No, based in a fictional place up north, near Hull.
So Shia LaBeouf is playing a British guy?
He's playing an Irishman.
Interesting. Okay.
And
he looks a bit like a pikey sometimes.
Yeah. Well, he did a good job of. I'll show you a photo after this. Actually, it's cool. He dyed his hair blonde as well, bleach blonde, the top anyway.
Yeah.
Slicked it back. Proper traveller vibes.
Yeah.
And yeah, so he comes out of jail, and he says to Toby's character that I can help you make a lot of money fast. Maybe not so legal, but I can make a lot of money fast, and you need that money for your daughter. So he's doing the wrong thing, but for the right reasons, if you know what I mean. You can see where he's coming from. He's just trying to do right by his daughter. And it's through refereeing these bare knuckle boxing fights, underground fights and stuff. and it all, I don't want to give the story away, but it kind of doesn't happen exactly the way he wants to or you think it's going to happen. It may or may not spiral slightly out of control. And I play also an Irishman, a travelling gypsy.
You got a bit of pikey about you.
Yeah. Saw that when I nicked something coming in. I grew a mullet out. I had a mullet.
Yeah.
Proper mullet. And did some did the whole Irish thing and tried to do my best. Hope I didn't insult any of the travellers, but tried to do my best at that, and then did some bare knuckle boxing, and I fight Toby. Me and Toby have a scrap, a good scrap, good long, like 3 or 4 minute scrap.
Yeah.
Bare knuckle style, with Shia kind of managing that fight, and
that's amazing.
It was fun. It was awesome. I'll show you. Great. I've got some good photos. I'll show you. But and that's coming out some point this year. I don't know when, because it's doing the festival circuit at the moment to try and figure out which festival it's going to premiere at. But
Salvable. I have to look at that.
Yeah. Look at IMDb.
Is there any way to watch it now?
It's not out yet. But it will be out and everything, because it's the people who are in it.
I have to keep an eye out for that.
Toby and Shia. It's going to be big. James Cosmo as well. It's got some big names. Little old me.
That's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
man.
It's cool.
You think about back to the doc saying,
yeah,
the arts, it's your last hope.
Yeah,
the arts. So it's a long shot, but it may save you. And then fast forward, and you're bare knuckle boxing Toby Kebell. You just been and Sunray's about to premiere.
I'd love to see him again. Actually, just Sergeant Commander Coetzee. I'd love to just speak to him again and be like, it worked. It worked.
Yeah.
Look at this. How wild is that?
Yeah.
The last resort, the one that was most unlikely, was just so left field. It worked.
Yeah. I'm glad, mate.
Yeah.
I'm glad. It's good. It sounds like it's going really well. Well, it is going really well, you know. And I think by the time this gets released, it'll be. So we're recording this on the Friday before the premiere of Sunray on the Monday, or the London premiere.
Yeah.
I think this may go out Monday or Tuesday, probably Tuesday. But I've got some questions for you
hit them up.
From platinum patrons who are watching this live stream, because they get that benefit. Okay.
No, I haven't ever thought of dyeing my hair. It's just...
Well, the first question is hair related.
Yeah.
Are you my first ginger guest?
Oh.
No. Pretty sure not. No.
Really?
No, you can't be.
There's not that many of us, though, is there? Less than 1% of the world.
You can't be my first ginger guest. No. Right. Have you seen people... Okay. Have you seen people abusing their power on the film set?
Oh, absolutely.
How is it dealt with?
I've seen it happen. It get brushed under the carpet. I've also seen it happen and be quietly normally addressed and I've seen people removed. Actually, I've seen people removed from film sets for that. But the best way I've seen is it's quietly discussed in a corner, almost a little crisis meeting. But bring the people in who it's and explain the situation, that what is or not appropriate, and can we agree we're not going to do this going forward? Because I'm a big fan that people make mistakes. And power is addictive, and I'm not going to blame someone for being a human and getting addicted to that. Give an opportunity to put it right, and then after that, if they keep abusing and fucking about, then we can have a real hardline conversation. But before that, given this opportunity, this is not cool, let's set it right. And that's the best way I've ever seen it dealt with. But I have also just seen it swept under the carpet, minimise, no one talk about it.
Yeah. What's the most realistic war film in your opinion?
Ooh. I mean, I'm such a massive fan of Saving Private Ryan, but at the same time, I didn't experience that, so I don't know. Do you know what I mean? From my experiences, it seems pretty legit.
That beach landing scene is...
Horrific. But I also wasn't there, so I don't... Someone who was there might tell me, no, much worse, or not, you know. To me, from my experiences, I'd say it hits a lot of the keynotes in terms of realism from my experiences. my modern experiences, if I try and dress those as a World War II experience, I'm like, yeah, that kind of matches. I feel like that's pretty good.
Would you work with Russell Brand? This is not the first time Russell Brand has come up in a question from one of the Platinum patrons. I'm but would you work with Russell Brand? No, it's not Russell. I mean, maybe Russell. Maybe not Russell. Yeah.
I mean,
is it Russell?
Yeah.
Maybe Russell Brand.
Russell, yeah. I don't see why not. I work with most people, to be fair. Yeah, I'd work with him. I like to.
There's some allegations hanging over his head, aren't there?
Allegations over everyone's heads, really.
I agree.
But I like to make my own mind up about a lot of people. I see a lot of shit get slung about against anyone who's in the spotlight, and undoubtedly some of it's true. But on the same vein, if you believe that, then undoubtedly some of it's not true. Nature of life, people are going to make shit up. So I'm not saying that's with him, but I'd like to make my own mind up about him, meet him, and yeah, I'd work with him. I might not continue to work with him, but I'd give him a go.
Yeah, if other things transpired.
Yeah.
Is the atmosphere different depending on genre of film? For example, action film sets, are they different to comedy film sets?
Oh, massively. Not in terms of how it works in terms of the filming, but the environment is...
That's a great question.
It's a really great question. On comedy, you actually need more time on comedy, purely for the reason that everyone keeps messing up because everyone's pissing themselves. Because it's funny. Because it's genuinely funny. I mean, you see those films with Jim Carrey or Steve Carell where the amount of outtakes, there's like 20 outtakes per scene, and the normal takes you do on a film set, maybe 5 at the most. You might do 5 takes. Because then you need to move on. You've only got a certain amount of time. With comedy, you have to plan in so much extra time because you might be doing 20 takes because the first 19, everyone's just laughing. They can't keep a straight face because it's funny. And then because it's funny, you look forward to the day. As you do, you just look forward to it more because everyone loves to laugh. It's like, because that's what laughing is. You're having a really good time. So I'd say, maybe it's a personal thing, but I'd say, yeah, comedy film sets you really look forward to turning up, and you know it's going to be longer days. You're going to be stuck on the same scene for longer, but it's really fun. Whereas action is fun, but it's fast paced, and drama again, it's the same. Action and drama pretty similar. It's fast paced. It's fun, but you're moving on. Okay, it's like whoa, okay, I'm on the next thing now. Okay, and that scene, it's not linear. You might be doing the end scene and then doing the beginning scene. Okay, now I need to, where's my character at this point? Otherwise, it's not going to be a very good journey along the thing. And it's comedy, there's more time.
Would you be willing to take part in a film that was against your personal views? For example, an anti-military film. Or let's go more specific than that. I'll give this example. A film which portrayed the Marines in a bad light. No.
I don't think so because, well, I also don't think they'd pick me for that, personally. I think they could ask, but I don't think. One, I don't think I'd be picked. They wouldn't ask me, but I wouldn't do something that was so against my views. Something that's just... It also depends on how they're going about. If they're going about it saying this thing is bad, that's different from just exploring a question, questioning something. Is this bad? Is it good? I don't mind those. Because I think everyone should have a different opinion. I like that people have different opinions. Keeps us on track. But if it's something that's categorically stating this is bad and I don't believe it, then I would not do it, no.
Do you prefer working with ex-military compared to civvies?
In certain ways, yeah. Yeah. It's much easier for me to work with military people. But it's different.
But why?
Because I understand the rules of engagement more, if that makes sense.
They're a known quantity, right?
Yeah.
They're your people.
Yeah, I
know. Your people. It's your tribe. You understand
and as an actor, I do try to understand all people because I might have to portray all people. So I do try and understand everybody, but I do naturally understand the military people more. I just do.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not. It's not a bad thing. I think it's. You know what? It's one of those topics where people don't really want to admit it. It's like you walk into. If you walk into a room as a man and there's 5 men on one side and there's 5 women on one side, you've got to go to one of the sides. You're probably going to go to the male side.
Depends.
No, you're probably going to go to the male side. Yeah, okay. You're going to go in and spend an hour talking to these people. Okay, I'm going to the male side.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to go there because I feel more comfortable there than the women's side. Not because women are bad, because I know men more because I'm one.
How hot are the women there? That's the question.
How hot are the men?
Well, that's a better question.
Yeah. Okay. Has a film ever left a lasting impact on you in some way?
Yes, and it's not a very well-known film. It's called Patterson.
Patterson.
And it's a film by Adam Driver, who is, the big Hollywood actor. He plays Kylo Ren in Star Wars. He was the new Darth Vader.
Oh yeah, the pouter.
Yeah. And he's an ex-US Marine.
He's a bus driver and a poet.
Yes, exactly. He's a bus driver called Patterson and in the town of Patterson. And he's a poet. And the kind of the
his name's Patterson and the town is Patterson.
Patterson. And he drives a bus. So he sees his life is all about the town. It's all the different people in the town. And the film is basically you just exist. The camera basically follows him through his life for a few days, effectively. And you see what he experiences and how it tries to show how his mind artistically interprets all the things that happen to him. And then he reflects that in his poetry, which is, there's something about that film, it's just so good to me. Like I've seen other people that were watching them, which be bored because nothing really happens. But so much happens to him, if that makes sense. And then you're seeing how he relates. And I'm not a poet, but it just really spoke to me in that kind of. I just found it so interesting. He managed to capture this so well, and this guy who's just an amateur poet. He writes all these poems. He never shows them to anyone. He just writes them in his book. At one point, his girlfriend's dog. He hates the dog, and the dog eats the poems. And just how he just like deals with this stuff. And he's a vet in the film actually as well. He's an ex-Marine.
Yeah.
And you just see how it's that real. You see him go to the edge so many times that we all know, and he's just like, where you either get angry, or you just go, yeah. So many veterans know, you know that feeling where you sometimes just go, and he's the guy who just goes every time, and he just rolls, and it's just, I don't know, it's a really poetic film. It's a film about an artist and a poet, and the film is literally a bit of poetry. So if you don't really like poetry because you find it, I hear you, and you just don't really get it, you probably won't like the film. But if you do like a bit of poetry, the film is, I think, a visual poem, really, and I love it, and it really inspired me, and then he inspired me because then I looked into it more, and I was like, oh, you're a former US Marine, and it kind of inspired me to go further with my art, because he's a former US Marine. He got injured, he got MD'd, and then look at him now, he's flying, and he had his own veterans charity in the US, so it pushed me to. I did a lot of charity work in the UK for veterans. I was on the. I won the. I can't remember the name of the award now, but I didn't win it. I was a finalist for the Soldiering On Awards.
Oh yeah! Oh, congratulations
for bringing the arts to soldiers. They had a program. Soldiers Arts were doing a program about 50 people a year. I changed it to 5,000 in 1 year during COVID. Switched it up and ran their program, and
that's amazing.
Yeah, it was also, and that was my inspiration to help them do that. Came through him, so that's why that film inspired me on a lot of levels, professionally, as well as just in life. It's a film you'll love or you'll hate. So.
I might have to check it out. Yeah, I'm thinking. I'm not sure. Would I love that? Would I hate it? But I'll have to look it up. Tom, it's been a pleasure. Like I said, the Sunray, I'm not surprised it sold out in 15 seconds or whatever it was,
Number 1 on Apple TV pre-orders right now, today. Number 1.
Is it?
Number 1.
So when does it go live on Apple TV then?
24th.
24th
So
of Jan.
theatrical as well as, so in cinemas as well as on streaming platforms.
Yeah, I highly recommend people watching this, and I highly recommend if you get a chance to go to the cinema and watch it, do so. But like Tom said earlier, you can. It was similar for Jackie. So I think Jackie was viewing, and he went into certain cinemas. You need to lobby your cinemas to get Sunray into the cinema. It is well worth it.
Yeah.
And if you're unsuccessful with that, go to another cinema, someone that's showing it.
But they do listen. They are open to it. You think,
Yeah.
oh, who am I going to speak to? Just ask to speak to the manager, and then ask and just talk to them about it. They're open to these kind of things. They want to know what people want to watch. They want to get people in the cinema. But yeah, so cinemas. But if you can't make it to a cinema, it's going to be on Amazon Prime, Apple TV, Sky TV, and whoever else picks it up. But those are the big three right now. So if you can't get to a cinema, also on streaming, those kind of streaming platforms, video on demand, I think they call it. But
VOD.
VOD.
The old VOD.
VOD.
Yeah. No, congratulations on it, mate. Well done. And with the career in general, it's awesome. Even without the healing process part, it's like you're achieving great things. And good luck with Salvable when that comes out. I'll keep my eyes out for that, and hopefully see you on Monday at the premiere.
Yeah, man. We'll get you in.
What's the website for Sunray?
It is sunrayfilm.com.
Sunrayfilm.com.
If you put it into Google, it'll be the first thing that comes up as well.
Yeah.
Because I'm terrible with whether things have a hyphen or not. I always forget. So just Google Sunray Film and it.
And how do people follow you?
On Instagram is my main profile. My name is, if you search Tom Leigh, you'll find me, but my handle is Velvet Thunder 123.
Of course,
that's a story for another time.
Yeah.
But
X.
I do have X. I think it's Lee Tom 5.
Okay. Just look for Tom.
But I'm not very active on it. I mainly just
Instagram's the main one.
I mainly just stalk other people. Yeah.
You're TikToking.
I'm not TikToking.
Mate, take a leaf out of Stephen Blade's book. Get on there and start whispering.
Start whispering to you, yeah.
Been a pleasure, mate. Good luck.
Thanks, man.